Hi, everybody. My name is Gina, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about progressions, variations, techniques, and cues for the front squat. So we'll start with a plate squat. The plate squat encourages an upright torso. It helps prevent overarching the spine or hunching over during the front squat. Unlike a back squat, you need to be very upright in your posture. Your trunk needs to be almost vertical with your chest up. And when you're holding the plate overhead, it restricts the amount of forward trunk inclination, making you maintain that upright position. Now, in this video demonstrating what it looks like, this gentleman could put a small ball on top of the plate. If he sees the ball rolls off the plate, then he knows he needs to get either his elbows up a little bit higher or into more of a vertical upright trunk position. It's a good warm up and it's a good way to work toward the proper position for a front squat. So that's what that looks like. Let's go back to the slides. Now, next is the overhead squat. So this is very similar to the plate squat, but you're going to use a barbell and you're going to have it over your head. And it also helps prevent that poor lumbar spine position that we want to avoid. So this gentleman is demonstrating in this video what it should look like. So his knees are following his toes are slightly pointed outward. Those are some cues that are also used for the front squat. Keeping a nice overhead position, good shoulder mobility. So from a side view, you can see his spine, very straight, very neutral, chest very upright. And that's a great example of what your overhead squat should look like. Now you could do this to work on your mobility. You could do this as a warm-up. You could do this even with a PVC pipe as your warm-up to front squats, just to get the spine in that good position. So here we have a zombie squat as well. Now the gentleman in this photo on the slide here is not doing a zombie squat. So a zombie squat, your arms are going to be straight out in front of you, as I'll show you in this video. But the reason I chose this picture was because of his clean grip position. That's what this hand position is called, is a clean grip. So see how he has about 3 fingers on the bar there. Now, some athletes are going to have more mobility. They're going to have their whole hand on the bar. Some athletes are just going to barely be able to have one little finger on the bar, in which case they can work on the zombie squat to get to the front squat. So here's a video. Arms straight out in front of him. And this is just helping him get used to the bar position during the front squat. It's going to be up on the upper clavicle area. And there you see him just getting used to that bar position, if he's not mobile enough to get his hands back there. So that's the zombie squat. Now the front squat. So executing a proper front squat with good form is very difficult. It requires a lot of flexibility and mobility in different joint angles, like your ankles, your hips, your shoulders. And there's also a lot to think about during the motion itself, bracing your core, making sure your knees are following your toes, just keeping in mind all the cues, either through repetition where it comes naturally, or if you're just learning, it's a lot to think about. So some of the cues are keeping the toes pointed slightly outward. Your knees are going to track right over your toes. So if your knees are coming out a little bit farther than your toes, you might have poor hip mobility, and you need to point your toes out a little bit more. As long as the knees are tracking over the toes, then that's good. Keep the chest up and proud. A lot of coaches and trainers say, like a prideful chest, keep the chest up like you're proud of yourself, and elbows high at all times. Keep those elbows up. This is not the position of, overhead press, a push press, a shoulder press. Your elbows need to be way up high for this one. You're going to hinge from the hips and then let the glutes fire you up on the way back, and pressing through the full foot, keeping the heel on the ground. So oftentimes, if maybe those elbows come down a little bit, you start to lean forward in your front squat, you'll go up onto your toes. That is not good. You want to keep a flat foot, drive from those heels. So let's look at a video of a actual front squat and what it should look like. Now, keep in mind, this man is very low, and you do not need to get this low. He is dropping it like it's hot, but 90 degrees is just fine. So let's watch him. Okay, he takes a step back. We have a front view, a side view. His knees are going to track his toes. His chest is going to stay up, back straight. And there he goes. It's hard to see his elbows because it's dark out. He's wearing a black shirt, but his elbows are up high. Great form. Great front squat. From the front. Excellent. Elbows up. That clean grip is just outside of the shoulders. And he is wearing weightlifting shoes, which have a little bit of a heel to them. And let's get back to the video. And that heel helps keep his upright posture without having to have a crazy good ankle mobility. But if you do have excellent ankle mobility, you don't need those shoes. So as far as spotting goes, when you're spotting somebody doing a front squat, you need to have two people in order to properly spot a front squat. So you're both gonna stand on opposite ends of the bar. Cup your hands as so, hands together, palms facing up. You're gonna stay about 2 to 3 inches away from the bar. So not touching it, just right under it. So as the squatter unracks and steps back, you're gonna follow that bar path. You're gonna stay right on it. As he descends down in your squat, you're gonna have feet shoulder width apart, trunk upright. You're gonna also descend down with him in a squat. As he ascends coming up out of his squat, you're going to also ascend, staying real close to the bar. And as he goes to rack the bar, you follow until he's about a rack. You grab the bar and assist him balancing it, putting it back in the rack. Once it's securely racked, you can smoothly release the bar. The purpose of the front squat and the body parts that it targets are a lot more anterior than the back squat. So although with the front and back squat, you're working your glutes, you're working your hammies, and you're working your quads, the front squat recruits a lot more of the anterior muscles and engages the core and the quads to a higher degree. So equipment, obviously a barbell and some weights and a rack, unless you can power clean the weight that you wish to front squat from the floor, then a rack would be considered necessary. And then some additional optional equipment that a lot of weightlifters use, powerlifters use once they get up to a very heavy weight, like a 1 rep max. They'll use a weight belt, knee sleeves, or weightlifting shoes like we saw in the video of the gentleman front squatting just before this. So some tips to wrap this up. Don't forget to drive your elbows up. Your elbows got to be way up there. And if you have trouble getting them up there, work on some mobility. It's not fun. It's a little bit boring. Nobody wants to do it, but you don't want to be front squatting with your elbows down. They got to get up. So some PVC pipe warm-ups, some stretches, getting into that elbow high up position with a grip on the bar. Keep your chest up and always keep a tight core. Always brace your core with everything that you lift. And lastly, don't slack on mobility outside of the lifting session. Just meaning if you have tight hips, poor ankle flexibility, poor shoulder mobility, You need to work on that outside of just your heavy lifts. And that's going to really enhance your performance and what you're capable of doing. The guy in this picture is the founder of Squat University. If you want to look into it, he has social media pages, Instagram, Facebook. You can Google him, Squat University. Everything is free. He gives amazing, incredible information for free. He is more than qualified, and any impingements that you have, lower back pain, hip mobility issues, ankle mobility issues, he has tons of drills and information. And warm ups, exercises that can help you get past that. So I highly suggest looking up Squat University. And lastly, just don't skip a warm up. See a lot of guys come into the gym, go straight into squatting cold. You're asking for injury. It only takes 5 to 10 minutes to warm up those muscle areas and turn everything on, activate your glutes. It's very important. And transfer your skill. So a front squat, take it into a squat clean. That's what's great about all these exercises, that they can build onto each other for Olympic lifts. And I hope that this was an informative presentation, that you learned something, and good luck with your front squats and your squat cleans. I'm going to stop sharing. Bye.